Disciples of Jesus look to the future. Listen to me, vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision is a waste of time, and vision with action can change the whole world. He will speak to you. The question is, are you listening?
So taking a layer deeper, so this is all really good insight for connecting, and that's where all relationships start, connecting. Then going a layer deeper, you're in relationship with people. What are some healthy relational boundaries that you've had to either enforce or establish as you've built relationships, and maybe you're in a small group and there are just some boundaries you have to instill with people in the group. Maybe you've been connected and friends, like friendly and acquaintance for a while, but the relationship got a little bit more developed. You spend more time together and you start to really understand some deeper levels about these people, and you have to either form or hold a boundary. What are some of those? How do you keep your relationships healthy?
I'm going to deflect this time because you did last time.
Yeah.
Oh, there, boy. I just passed you the ball.
Yeah, I'll take it. I just think personally, so in college is when I found the Lord. I wanted to say early, it was end of first semester my sophomore year. And so at the time, I was an average, or just your average college student, probably an average college student too. But in high school, I grew up going to a Church of Christ. I love my family, but we didn't go to church every Sunday. I played baseball every Sunday in tournaments. I traveled the state and the country. And so faith wasn't as big of a deal for us. But we were Texan, so we were already Christian, right? So that's kind of how...
God's country.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I feel like I was raised. And so I knew of God. I knew of Jesus. I knew he died for our sins. Did not have a relationship. The concept of him still being alive and he rose from the dead, didn't even think about that. And so, but my dad was a cop also growing up, so I didn't drink at all. Just a little, in high school, like all my other friends did. And going into college, I didn't drink. And then I remember having my first sip of alcohol and just thinking, I'm doing something wrong, like God's going to strike me down. And he didn't. And I was like, okay. And so, at that point, I became the average college student, and I would drink and party and all of that. Once I found the Lord, I had some really good friends through rugby that I loved to death, but I found that hanging around them and partying with them was allowing me to go down a path that I knew that I was convicted about. I knew it wasn't right, and I knew it wasn't of the Lord. That's not what God wanted for my life. And so I kind of cold turkey quit some of those relationships, or at least very much diminished the depth of our relationships. And some of those relationships I had were very, very close, like still my best friend to this day. And I just remember it hindering our friendship to a point where I questioned, is this the right decision? Is cold turkey the right move here for me to flee from immorality? But also, am I forgetting about the love part of, am I cutting something evil off that's hard, or am I cutting something evil off that's harming me? And so at the end of the day, I found that once I got over the harm part and I realized it was just hard, I still slowly kind of rekindled that relationship, if you will. And we're one of them is we're best friends to this day.
So you put a line on drinking.
At the time, I mean, it didn't help that I was illegally drinking. I was 20 at the time.
Yes,
and so it made it easier to not do it. But it was harm because it harmed my faith and my relationship with God. But it was also hard because they were some of my best friends, and I played a sport with them on weekends. And so everybody's faith journey is different. Everybody's tolerance to be around certain things that they struggle with is different. And so I feel like once I reached the part of, the best way to put it is, it wasn't harming me anymore, it was just going to be hard to do, is when I slowly reintroduced, the depth of those friendships to where I could be solid in my faith, but still be around them to love them and help them grow and lead them, towards God in their faith.
So how did you held that boundary and then you reestablished relationship?
Yes.
How did you do that? And did they struggle with that boundary?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I thought I was going to lose some of my best friends for a while. And, some of those conversations were hard. It was like, oh, you're hypocritical. Like, this is what you were doing. And now all of a sudden you're like better than us. Like, what's the difference? Type of stuff like that. But ultimately, my faith was more important than harmful words. And
it's good, Toby.
Yeah. And reestablishing it was honestly some apologies on my end of, hey, this is or explanations and apologies. This is why I did this. Forgive me for you being hurt by this, but this is why I did this. And then also apologize for, hey, I could have handled this a little better, and I love you, and this is what I want out of our relationship.
And you initiated that?
Yeah, for sure.
Out of a love for relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it's, going back to we all want to be liked. You have to get to a point to where it doesn't matter if you lose a friend over something that's going to harm your faith or draw you away from your faith. Like if they're not on the same, like you think about it in marriage, you want to be on the same path, or when you're dating, if you're not on the same path, they're not the one for you. It's the same with friendships. If you can have a friend over here that's going in the opposite direction, and if it's going to harm you, then remove it. If it's just going to be hard and difficult, it's probably worth, keeping them in your life to some degree to be able to show God's love. So, yeah.
That's a very practical boundary, and I think you mentioned it started in college, but now you hold it in a different space as an adult. How has that been going forward, holding that boundary and keeping a relationship?
Easy. The easy way to put it is I feel like my circle is a lot tighter than it was in college. And so the new friends that I do gain are oftentimes around the church. There's not much with two kids, not many opportunities for me to go make new friends outside of church and work. And with work, I travel 4 states. So can't really be best friends with someone in Louisiana and Oklahoma. So, so cheating a little bit on the answer is my circle's a little tighter. The opportunities I give myself to open up to someone to be that level of friendship is pretty much designated around the church or the neighborhood, which is fun being in Aledo now. So,
that's a family in and of itself.
Yeah.
What about you, PJ?
Well, every relationship has a connection. There's some connection for that relationship to happen. So you're in the same school together, college and it's high school. I work in the same place, play on the same team, go to the same church. There's a connection point in every one of your relationships. So that's one thing I would throw in there is recognize the connection point. Yeah. If the connection point is a temporary phase of life, it might be that connection point, when that phase of life changes, goes away. So I don't keep up with any of my friends from high school because when I went to college, all that changed. When I went from college into ministry, pretty much those relationships changed, but not because of faith, because all of my friends in college were Christ followers as well, but it was logistics. We were miles and hours apart, and so it all changed. Plus, I moved to Texas. So you have to recognize, I've experienced enough of life that circumstances do change things. The best relationships are the ones where you built a commonality on friendship, and the friendship had a connection with the Lord, if you're a Christ follower, and they are, such that you can go years without talking, without being able to be together. But then something happens, you end up at the same conference, or they come to town because their daughter got engaged to a guy in this town. They met at college, but he lives here and she's from Alabama, but they're going to come meet their family, and hey, can we get together with you all? Or you're going to a conference somewhere where you got someone that you went to school with and they live there now, and I'm going to be at this conference in your city. And then as soon as you see each other, boom, it's like the conversation 3 years ago finished, and it's like a second later, the new conversation is beginning. And those are the ones that I love, that the connection point for the relationship is beyond circumstances or beyond Well, like for a Christ follower to be away from the Lord during college, make a bunch of party friends, and then come to the realization, I don't want to live this life. Because you see people, and no offense if you're listening or watching, I'm not trying to call anybody out or throw anybody on the bus, that are 50 years old and they're still living like they're 21 in college. And it's like, your growth is stunted. You're still thinking and acting like you're kids, because you got kids that are at age that are doing the same thing. And you're thinking, okay, there's something not right there. That's not a healthy mindset for that person at that place in life. And then you realize that was the best part. That was the best their life had ever been. Yeah. Was the partying and the friendships that they had during college. And they haven't had anything that good since then. And so they're stuck like in a time warp.
Yeah.
And so you have to recognize and realize, because friendships do change, relationships change, except for covenant relationships. I believe that when we're in covenant around the Lord, marriage, family, those don't change. They change logistically. They change with age. But our family value has been the way that we raised you all is friends will come and go. But your family's always going to be your family. And so we've always tried to help you all realize the importance of keeping your siblings as friends. And so, and you all do that, and then like Toby and Taylor and others fall into that, and it's like you're living your own life, you have your own relationships, but then you're in this bigger circle of Christ followers who have a value on friendship and relationship and connection, and it ebbs and flows. You might not do anything with them for a year, but then you get on the same softball team, and then boom, it's like the new community that has some other newer people in it, but it all rekindled, and that's the best way to go.
What about like relational boundaries within those? Like, yes, lots of life seasons and all that, but just speaking to boundaries themselves, I think, to your point, setting healthy boundaries was a big part of growth for you, and it was a growth moment missed for these references that you had for people who didn't move past it. So have there been times where you had to recognize, oh, I need to set some boundaries here. There's places I can't go and relationships I can't keep. What were those boundaries, and how did that go for you?
Well, if there are requirements to be in that setting that are not requirements that I hold for my life, then I draw a pretty tight boundary. For example, we heard you're a good softball player. You want us to be on. We want you to be on our team. We need a pitcher, and heard you're a good pitcher. We want you to be on our team. But here's the deal: we go to Horny Toad Grill after every game.
That's an actual place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I
just thought of a little rundown hole in the wall bar out on where the offices used to be, out on the west side of Fort Worth. Yeah. But here's the deal:
I'd pass it when I'd visit Taylor at the office.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
That's not why I was looking at you.
Yeah. How do you know about? How do you know about this, Toby? But we want you to play on our team, and you're a good dude, and man, we'd like to have a connection with the pastor, and will you be the team chaplain and all this? But here's the deal: it's an unspoken thing that we always go to Horny Toad for a burger and a beer after the game, and if you can't do that, then we're not going to have you be on our team. That's an easy boundary.
Yeah.
That's an easy boundary for me.
I'd
love to play with you guys on that team, but you're adding something outside of my purview for life, which is enjoying softball, which I haven't done in a long time, but I might do again. And you're putting in going to a place that I don't frequent. If I want a burger, I'm going to Jake's Burgers. I'm going to go somewhere and get a good burger. I'm not going to go to the Horny Toad Bar and Grill, which the purpose is, it's kind of like, It's a Wonderful Life, whenever he's allowed to see the dark side, when Clarence has to go, and he goes to who owned the bar, the restaurant, anyway, Martini goes in, and it's now it's dark, it's different, and he's there and talking to him, and the owner goes, "This is a place where men come to get drunk." And you're thinking, if that's a requirement for friendship, I'm out.
Yeah.
So there has to be boundaries. We can't just be everything to all people. And those that are watching, see what I'm doing here? I'm quoting, but those that aren't, I'm doing finger quotes here, because the scripture says, "Be everything to all people that you might win some." But there is a requirement on us to also be able to say, "Clean before my Lord do I stand."
Yeah.
And so you can't compromise for the desire of trying to reach people. You can't compromise values and not have any.
Yeah, it's good.
Before we move on, you mentioned time, and just over you can go a few years and just pick up where you left off. And those are the types of friends that I feel like I have a lot of friends like that, where I can go a month, couple months, a year, and pick up right where we left off. And that might be more of a man thing than a woman thing. I think women need that constant connection with each other to feel close. But
It's very possible.
But the time also brings up another point. Often friendships are sometimes good for a season. But remember, like, the Lord's going to work in their lives whether you're involved or not.
Yep.
And so that time away, it's I'm from Weatherford, grew up in Weatherford, and when Parker County was announced as going to be launching a campus out here, I was like, I want to be a part of that, because I can guarantee you someone's going to walk through that door that I haven't seen in 18 years, and we're going to connect, and it's going to be awesome. And that's happened dozens and dozens of times, and
That's
it's
cool.
so cool to see somebody who I thought I knew 18 years ago to who they are today. And sometimes that's people my age, sometimes that's little siblings of people I knew, sometimes it's parents, and it's just so cool to see the Lord work in people's lives over time. And so remember, when you're in these friendships and you have to cut it doesn't mean it's forever. Make sure, as a Christian, you're not holding grudges. You're offering forgiveness on your end if there's
Very good.
anything that needs to be forgiveness
Yeah.
about.
Very good.
Because God's going to work in their lives
Yeah.
if they're open to that. So
Yeah.
So sometimes time is a good thing.
That's a really good point. Right now, this next generation, Gen Z-ish and below, are incredibly more likely, I don't have the statistics in front of me, on my computer today, but incredibly more likely by the time they reach their mid-20s to have cut off one or two close relationships, being a friend or family. And by cutting off the statistic, is it Barnum that does these studies?
He's one Christian researcher.
Yeah, I think it was one of his reports. But
Barna. Did you say Barnum?
Barna.
Barna.
I was going to say the
Yeah.
other one's a circus.
Yeah. Barnum.
Thank you.
Barnum,
I was
yeah.
like, I know
Barnum is-
both words, but I don't know why.
Barnum and his partner Bailey had
Yeah.
a circus.
Yeah.
There it is. I'm going to chalk that up to pregnancy brain.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. So,
You're so pretty pregnant.
thank you, Dad.
You got a pregnancy glow about you.
So sweet. Also, so they're cutting off relationships, and when he explained the study, it's not cutting off like we don't hang out anymore. It's cutting off as in I don't want you in my life anymore. And they're making those statements, and or they are cutting people off from access and saying subliminally, I don't want you to have access to my life anymore. What do y'all think about that, and how would you speak to people who either know someone like that, because that's a good portion of our population now, or are in that category and they've made those relational severances, and you just said like God works in the space, which I love that you said that, and extending forgiveness into, even if they have to end them well, because you never know
Yeah.
what the Lord could do. How would you speak to that pattern? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's not? And how would somebody go about protecting themselves, maybe in a necessary way, but do it the right way?
I think the immediacy of it, I don't know. It depends on the situation. It could be healthy, but I think, number one, what does it say in James? Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. So if you're cutting off a relationship because you're offended, you might want to take a step back and check yourself before you give that person an ultimatum or make a decision that you're going to regret. But I think it goes back to, is this relationship harmful or is it just hard? Because I think, life is going to be hard, especially if you're a Christian.
Yeah,
we have a
good.
target on our back. And so I think ask that question before you make a decision, and make sure your decision isn't ultimate or final. Because like I said before, God can change anybody's heart in any situation. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
good.
used to be, before cancel culture became popular and running almost simultaneously, another work of the flesh or of the evil one was reality TV, reality media. Prior to that, people didn't cancel each other. Now, relationships changed, but there wasn't what you just described, the emotional, I'm cutting you off and removing you from every part of my life. That started when cancel culture hit. I'm going to say, was that 10 years ago when that started?
Yeah, just
And
about.
it just keeps picking up speed in reality TV, where the audience wants to see the conflicts and the stuff. We don't watch it, but you can't help but see commercials and see promos for stuff. And I'm thinking, this is
like
ridiculous.
reality TV, the drama.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
drama, all the ugliness, the pettiness, the anger, it set the table for all this. Prior to that, and I'm not saying back in the good old days, I'm not going to be the old guy saying it used to be really good, but still the most popular sitcom of all time, I think, is Friends. And while I didn't watch it much, they worked everything out. Every episode had some issue, and they worked it out. Now,
That's a really interesting thought.
that was prior to cancel culture, and that
Yeah.
was prior to reality TV, where the drama and the arguments and the pushing each other in the pool and all the crazy stuff. You're like, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hopefully people don't live this way, but now it's become people are living this way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I wish we could go back. And here I don't sound like the old guy. I wish you go back and reverse time. But if we could pull that mindset out or replace it, it would make things so much better, because that's not the way Christ wants us to live.
Yeah.
Is there an element to soul health that lies within the ability to work it out and work through what you said is not necessarily harmful, it's just hard? Is that what's maybe hurting and stunting some people's growth in their soul and growth in relationships, that they just can't get through the hard of a relationship?
Well, people don't like to be inconvenienced. People don't like, it's my way and my way now. And if it's not that way, it's so empty and so weak. And not to throw anybody under the bus, but statistics are showing that at some point there's going to be a complete crumbling of society because of the broken relationships, or at some point there's going to be enough of that. We're going to get back to the way things should be. Our country was kind of founded that way. There's a lot of stuff going on in the nation that we came from, or at least the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants came from, that they came to start over, and when they did, they started over based upon the Lord. The ones that came to the United States started, the colonies all formed, in the origin of the colonies, the way they're going to educate. The first primer was almost always a little Bible, and all the stuff that we've learned from wall builders on the founding of our country. They did that because they were getting away from so much crud and breakdown of society and belief systems that were wrong, and turning away from God. And that type of thing is going to need to happen again, unless the Lord returns first.
Do you think it's important that we build relationships that are in communities and with people that are not like-minded? And how important is that? Not like-minded and different in some way, like they're referencing what you were saying, founding of our nation. People did also tend to gravitate toward like-minded communities, and there were rifts and issues with that. But embracing relationship as a Christ follower, do you find value in making relationships outside of your circle and your sphere and your common think and your, same worldview? Is that important for us?
I do, underneath Christianity, though.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try to create commonality and act like there's everything is all well and good with someone who's a Muslim, because I can't. I can't. There's not a connection I can make with their worldview and the way they believe.
And you mean like a friend, not like being friendly? You
Correct.
mean like in your
I'll
community?
totally be friendly.
Yeah.
Try to have all the conversations. Tell me about what's working. Tell me about it's obviously working. Tell me about. I'll totally do that. But if it gets to the point where their requirement on me for the relationship to be more is that I become like them, and that's going to require I've got to compromise Christ, it's not happening.
Right. Up until that point, though, is there value in relationship?
There's always value in relationship. Be everything to all people to win some. Paul, to the Jew I'm a Jew, to the Gentile I'm a Gentile. To the educated I'm educated. I'm filling in the blanks. But to the non-educated I'm not educated. He found a way to connect with everybody.
Yeah.
Like Toby.
Yeah. I mean, we're called to spread the gospel to all nations, and so that doesn't happen unless we get a little bit comfortable outside of our like-mindedness and our sphere of influence.
Right.
But a relationship and a friendship doesn't mean you have to be best friends with that person. So sometimes, I think the value is introducing a thought, a mindset, ultimately our faith into someone that's different than you can be the depth of a relationship if that's where you want it to be. So
Yeah.
there's always value.
Yeah. Man, relationships are really key. I would love in our closing thoughts and our closing statements about relationship, because we're going to dive into in this series marriage relationships and marriage dynamics. This is purely relationship of friend connection community podcast to get the conversation going. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about best friends over long periods of time. We've got lots of things we want to discuss in this conversation, but if y'all could give me a closing piece about relationship that has strengthened your soul, whether it was a personal story, like one person strengthened you, or it was a choice you made in how you befriended people that added strength to your soul, I would love to hear that. And I think our listeners would too, love to hear how relationships can minister to them, what to look for. Again, it could be one relationship or just a way you do relationships.
You're first.
Oh, goodness. I'm trying to think of an example, but I think if I were to think of just what the most impactful realization I had is, I think I mentioned it a few times in the podcast, is I'm not the one that's going to save somebody. So if I'm befriending someone because I love them as a person and I just want to spend more time around them, that's one thing. But if I'm befriending someone because I simply want to introduce them to the Lord, let the burden be the introduction, and that be it. The rest is going to be up to the Lord. So it's all about who you can communicate, how you communicate to them, who you can connect them with, and how you get them plugged in. But the burden should be, what I've learned is introduce them to the Lord, introduce them to the faith, and don't be the one that don't feel like you have to change them, because the Lord's going to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think, and I'll add to just give a girl's perspective, because I realize I haven't given a lot of my own thoughts in this podcast.
Yeah, it's unusual.
I know. But I think one shift I had in the last probably 4 years of friendships is I started asking myself, am I giving in the investment that I want to be receiving? Do I take as much interest in others as I want them to take in me? Am I showing up for them as much as I want them to show up for me? And I approach relationships, whether they're deep friendships I've had for a long time or further away, people I don't frequent as often or see as much. I think about, am I giving to them what I would love for our relationship to look like first? And am I leading in that space? And for some people, I can't be a friend in their life every single week, every single day. But I want them to be my life. And so I'm like, okay, I can only be in their life to a certain point, but I want to make sure that every other month I'm connecting with them and I'm putting an investment there, because I do love this person. Life is busy. Yeah. So that way I don't have an expectation from them that they give more or less. It's like, I know I want to invest this much, and if I get it in return, great, but I'm not going to expect something I haven't invested in.
Yeah.
And my investments, I view my friendships that way. I view an investment aspect, time, conversation, showing up. Those I invest a lot in over time. If the investment's not returned, that has become a natural way for me to go, okay, maybe this isn't as close of a relationship, and it's not hurtful.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just, okay, it's not in this season. So I can shift that investment to someone that maybe could balance out the investment load.
Yeah.
But this is a woman talking about relationships. We've gotten a lot of perspective of men.
I mean, you should have been talking the whole time. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. Agreed.
Yeah.
The highlight of this podcast comes at 1 hour and 3 minutes.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, just thinking about that's added strength for my soul, because it's given me a way to be aware, be, intentional, and to make space for those evangelistic connections, but also fostering and protecting those deeper connections that we need to have.
Yeah.
Good, strong souls, good, strong community, good, strong health.
Yeah.
PJ?
I can't add anything better than
I
that.
was about to say.
Well, have you, what's been one, thing you've really appreciated about a relationship in your life? A friendship, specifically?
One good thing. The ability to just be real.
Yeah. And what is that for your soul? Why is that so important?
Because I don't feel like I have to hide, nor do I feel like that they're trying to hide, which is the hardest thing being a pastor. Because when you're friends with the pastor, you've got to be able to lay down your comparisons to I'm thinking the other person's thoughts. To be friends with the pastor, you got to lay down your insecurities, lay down your thoughts that you're not going to measure up. And they don't realize everybody puts their shoes on 1 foot at a time. Everybody only laces one set of laces at a time. I mean, there's some things that you just need to have, be the foundation rather than how do I be your friend? You're perfect. You don't ever have a temptation thought, and I have them all the time. So I just said be real, and then I'm, if they're being real and they're saying that, but it still makes it awkward.
Yeah.
So there are some how would I say this? Some people in life and their profession doesn't naturally lend to friendships. And being a lead pastor is one of those. It's just, even with each other, it's hard.
I was going to say, do you feel like you get the real version of your friends being in your position?
Yes and no. It's a topic for another podcast probably, but pastors have insecurities. There's always comparisons being made. And, the Bible's clear. There's some that can govern 100, some that can govern 1,000, some that can govern 10,000. But everyone thinks that, the one that's made it is the one who's governing or leading 10,000. Not realizing if your assignment is 100, if God's assigned you to shepherd 100 and you're in that spot, that's a great spot to be. Just accept it, love it, be there, and not be insecure if you're with somebody that's their assignments to govern 1,000 or to govern 10,000. So it's just a unique thing. I guess it'd be the same for lawyers, on how many cases they win or lose. It'd be the same with pharmaceutical sales, hospital equipment sales, what your sales level is, et cetera. And how can I be your friend? You sell $1 million a year and I only sell 100,000 a year. Whatever the case may be. If people can just be real and not have all of that be the thing, and it can just be, hey, tell me about you. And then I want to return the question, hey, I told you about me, now you tell me about you. And you're able to have just the commonality where two human beings walking on planet Earth, and for Christ followers that love the Lord. So can that be the foundation to the relationship, and not all the stuff we think makes us significant?
Matters,
And
what would be your closing statement on like your hope for our church growing in relationship and taking a step forward in relationships?
My hope would be that we would all have a heart for people, that we would truly want to strengthen people for life. And so how that plays out for each person is going to be different. Toby's able to make friends everywhere, and in Tarrant County, he's just 2 or 3 people removed from everybody in the whole county.
Probably.
That's not the case with that many people. But
he goes, maybe.
Everybody has somebody they can pray for, befriend, encourage, and an easy setting in our practice of Christianity is we do a large gathering. So they met in the temple, Acts chapter 2, and we do a small gathering. They met in the temple and they met house to house. That makes it so much easier. Some people don't like the big crowd, but others like it because it's easier to kind of hide for a while until you're comfortable to make a connection. Others like the intimacy and the connection of a small group. And so the fact is the way we practice Christianity has 2 options to start connecting. So my hope and my prayer would be that all of those that we have the joy of pastoring, leading, serving with, etc., would be able to make connections. That's my hope. That nobody would come in, not be noticed, walk out with church hurt when the hurt was not intentional at all. It happened via negative osmosis. So my hope would be that we would truly understand strengthening people for life has a starting point. Be willing to start, ask questions, engage conversation, pray. Take those steps to connect.
Yeah, it's good. Toby, what are your closing thoughts,
It's
your
hard,
hope.
It's hard to top that. I agree with everything you just said. I think ultimately, obviously we have a great church here at High Ridge. When we encounter somebody that goes to a different church or doesn't go to a church at all, and they try High Ridge out and it doesn't work out for them, the end goal is for them to know Jesus.
Yep.
And so continue to invite them. Continue to invite them to groups. Sometimes even if they don't go to High Ridge, but it's a way for you to build community in your neighborhood with somebody through a group versus inviting them to church on a Sunday. That's, I think, a win in itself. So
Yeah, definitely.
I would just say, just be involved in people's lives, even if it doesn't mean they're in your sphere all the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's good. Yeah.
Kind of
yeah.
like what he said. So yeah,
I like what you said.
yeah,
Be involved, even if they're not going to be in your sphere all the time. Just be involved.
yeah.
Yeah.
Be connected. Well, thank you guys for this conversation. Thank you for helping add strength to
Sure.
relationships, strength to the soul. You're probably going to see Toby at a campus near you this Sunday. So
I'll be in Austin for a wedding.
just
so,
kidding.
Yeah,
Campus near you at some
Yeah.
Sunday
yeah. 2 weeks.
coming up in the future.
Yeah.
How many weddings have you been in?
I'm not in one. I'm
Okay.
just attending one. Yeah.
But how many
I'm
weddings
done.
have you been in?
I couldn't tell you. It's been a few.
If you had to guess.
I don't know, maybe 8 or 10. But
Okay, that's not terrible.
My favorite ones, I've officiated 3. So
Oh.
No kidding.
my sister, my best friend Joe, and then one of my best friends Graham. Yeah,
Wow.
officiated 3.
Cool.
And so you said you will not ordain me, but you give me a certificate to officiate,
Yep.
a license to wed or bury.
Yep.
That's how you say it?
Pastoring's marrying and burying.
Yeah, marrying and burying. So yeah. So got to do that. So that was my favorite part, to be involved. But
That's cool.
that and being with Johnny and his was cool too. So
Yeah. Bottom line is make friends. It's going to add a lot of life to your life. It's
Yep.
going to add strength to your soul. And it's
right.
going to help bring a depth to you that you need and that people need out of you. So have fun. Build some friends this week. We love you guys.
Peace
out.
out.
Out.